Hello, welcome back to the Powered by Factum podcast. Today, I'm guest hosting this from the Factum facility on the north of the country up in North Dakota. David Zapata is joining me today. Thank you, David, for helping me get that out. And he's down in our Arizona office. So thank you, David, for taking the time to have the conversation about what does Powered by Factum really mean. So thank you so much for taking the time.
I love the opportunity. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what and why is Powered by Factum. We'll probably split this into two segments. So if you don't get your questions answered, if it piques your question, we're going to start with part one, and then we're going to finish with part two of Powered by Factum. So today, let's go back to a little bit of kind of how Simon Sinek starts this conversation. We're real familiar with Simon Sinek. One of the key things that we talk about in our culture segment of Factum is some of the books that we strongly want to read. And one of those is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. So as we do that, it always starts with why. If we understand what our why is, how valuable is that? And then how do we frame our conversations around why? So David, maybe give your take on starting with why, and then let's get into talking a little bit more about why somebody would want to be considered to be powered by Factum.
Love it. Thank you, Wade. I appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation. This is a really fun framework, I think, Golden Circles. Getting really clear about why would this even be an alternative for someone that wants to either join an industry for the first time in the life insurance industry, the infinite banking practitioner industry. And if you're experienced, why would you want to take your practice and bring it to our team and be part of our community, be powered by Factum? And I think it's obviously a good point to start to talk about that. Why those intentional words of powered by Factum? And I think it stems initially from our original intention of empowering our clients, the consumer. In any case that we have discussions with clients, what we are trying to do is empower people to become. Just like Nelson names in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, he's not talking about being the banker for anyone. He's empowering people to go on a journey of self-discovery, education, unfoldment, and become capable of having the right ideas, the right behaviors, the right rules, and the right platforms to do a particular process, which in this case we call infinite banking. And I think when we expand that thought process to leading an insurance business in our industry, it is exactly that kind of success we want for the agents that are part of our community. Being empowered by a system, a community, a hive mind of ideas, of processes that then they can use to flourish as a successful business owner in our industry. So the why stems from that. We want as an objective, if we start with the end in mind, to have successful leaders in our industries that serve as an example to others coming behind them on how to have the right mindset, the right processes, and the right tools and platforms to lead a successful insurance business.
Yeah, that's a really great point, David, because so many people out there think they want to be independent. And maybe rightfully so. They want to be independent because they want to have their own journey. What's the old adage? If you want to go on your own, but if you want to go high, go together. If you want to go far, go together. And that's really what we're talking about is just again, I've been in this business 35 years. I've done it all. I can't say I've seen it all, but I've done independent, done a career shop, had my own agency. But so why did I bring Sage Wealth Strategy? That was the name of my organization. That is the name of my organization. But now all I did was add a tagline, Powered by Factum. Yeah. And so there's some real benefit there. And we want to get into that a little bit today. But probably the biggest thing is, what is your vision as an agent, as a producer? What is your vision as far as where do you want to take your business? And can you get there on your own? Some people are just comfortable being, hey, I'm just going to do this. I have low expectations because they don't know any different. So they don't expect anything different because that's the way it's been done in the past. Because there's a bit of an attitude out in this industry of scarcity. They think that they're afraid to give anything up because somebody else might benefit from them. But the biggest takeaway is, the old idea that 1 and 1 make 2. We had to take a different look at this, and from our why, we're going to say 1 and 1 makes 11 because there's so abundant mindset here. And to come into an organization, to be part of another bigger organization, you have to have an alignment of values. And it starts with the why. And the why is we want to make sure that everybody that's associated with our business reaches the fullest and max potential of who they're going to be. It's not for our benefit, but it's obviously for your benefit or for the agents or the producers' benefit. So, and if that's the case and we can all win, what a fabulous life we can live. That's the approach that we take in everything we do.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny how the more we think about how all the themes and the frameworks we put together at Factum connect, the same things we do to empower, educate clients apply directly to how we empower our Factum agents to have successful businesses. I actually pulled up some of the words that Kyle used in the trailer for the podcast because I think it's relevant. And he's talking about the need in our industry for this kind of community, this kind of relationship. He says, less than 20% of life insurance agents who get into the business survive longer than 24 months. Wait, think about that. What level of attrition would that be on an army, on a corporation, on a government, right? That is significant. So there is a need to power the people in our community to have longevity in a business that is so beneficial for society.
Yeah, and I think if you go take it out even further, out to 5 years, right? Your success rate's probably somewhere, I've seen the numbers, but I don't know exactly what it is, but it's 5 to 7% of the people that started that make it 5 years. They're one of the five out of 100 that are still going after 5 years. It's ridiculous. But the problem is that you can't sell while you scale. Mm-hmm. And scaling is very expensive. So when I first got into business, they said, hey, this is the greatest business in the world, which they were right, because there's no barriers to entry. Mm-hmm. And I thought, hey, that's great. That's what I want. I want to get in. I was still in college when I was brought into the industry. I had no money. So it's like, I want to get going in this business. But what I didn't realize is that if I wanted to be the mediocre to poor, as far as my production, that statement was absolutely correct. Mm. There's very little barriers to entry to get into this business to be average or less.
Yeah.
But what is it going to take for you to be above average, to be very uncommon in this business?
Yeah.
And we see success like that all over the place. We look around like so-and-so successful, that didn't happen overnight. They had to sacrifice either money or time or sales in order to scale.
Yeah. And I want to slow down to something you said there really quick, because I think it's important that the audience catches this. You said it is very difficult to scale and produce results at the same time because those activities require focus. And a lot of people that think that they're going to be top producer at the same time they decide to build infrastructure for a business surprise themselves on how difficult it is to do them all on their own, which is, I think, again, at the core of the why powered by Factum question, right? Like, there is something very powerful to understand that when you join a community where you can leverage resources, other people, knowledge, experience, right? I'm a prime example of this way. You've been doing this for 35 years, and I've significantly accelerated my understanding, my career, my success by learning from the things you've probably have painfully learned through your life, right? You've been generous enough to share that knowledge with me. But not only just grow myself, but we've together been able to affect many more families in our partnership because we've leveraged each other. My skill set, your knowledge, that kind of conversation only comes from, like you were saying at the beginning, it starts with a simple conversation on an organization saying, hey, let's read some books, let's entertain the idea of abundance. What would abundance look like successfully deployed in a business where we all operate under that principle and we leverage in an organization? When you do that at scale, you see the things that we talk about, collaboration between experienced and new agents. When you have a successful new business team, that after I focus only on serving my client, educating my client, they take the rest of the application on the writing and successfully put business in force. All these things come from the place of really having, again, right mindset, intentional processes, and the right products in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and this goes back to, I think everybody probably is even listening to this probably instinctively knows this, right? Yeah. They understand that this is probably the truth, but they've never really had a deep conversation around this. And it really hit home when I started reading and having my conversation with Nelson Nash. When he, in his book, he talks about the cost of acquisition. And he was so brilliant because he didn't just say that is just the cost of acquisition of your policy. He was talking about the cost of acquisition of everything in life. Yes. So going back to the idea of that, hey, I want to have a system, a CRM. I want to have access to training videos. I want to have a process and an underwriting team, and all those things all cost time or money. And a lot of people are willing to give up time, which is the finite resource we have in our life. Think about this. We're willing to trade the most valuable thing we have in order to scale our business because we think that we're going to come out ahead because we're going to do it on our own and we're going to have the top contract and that's where we're going to make our bones. That's where we're going to be successful. When in all reality, let's take the most valuable asset you have, which is your time, free you to go do the thing that makes you the most enjoyment you have in your life and brings you the most energy, and offload all that other stuff to somebody that's already done it.
Yes.
How much would you be willing to pay to have all that taken off your shoulders, and all you have to go do is go and serve those families that need you to have the conversation with them. Go meet with people that want to have a much deeper conversation how they can find financial freedom. I mean, how valuable is that?
Yeah. And even to drive the point more specifically, because I think you're exactly right, beyond the cost in dollars, beyond the hours, think about this. And this is a commercial factum, but this culture that we have also attracts a certain kind of person that believes in the same values, abundance, serving, right? And we attract a specific set of skills, yourself, people like Kyle, Nathan, like we have a whole leadership team with very specific technical skills. So for me to step into a business like this where Kyle is very passionate about educating people and is willing to put himself through hours and hours of recording to put a library of 15 hours of value for our clients that I can just get to share with my community is incredible leverage for me. For me to receive weekly, monthly mentorship with you, somebody that's passionate about developing people, it is a huge leverage. And there's no money, there's no hours that I can go and source that easily. Is the intellectual property, the skill set, the human value connection that becomes a part of the cost of acquisition equation that is difficult to calculate. Our CRM, for example, not only has the technical setup and the follow-up and the tracking of data, but you also have to tune that up with the nature of our message, the values we talk about, with the tone that we want to connect with our clients. That unique level of customization and atonement to our culture is beyond dollars and hours. You have to find somebody like Nathan Lewis that is an expert in his field, that agrees with our philosophy, that aligns with our values to be part of our team and be powered by that culture. That is extremely unique.
Yeah, and think about the time it takes to go find that person. Again, if we start thinking in what is our hourly rate, and that's one thing we talk a lot about here, what's our hourly rate in our mindset? What does it take us to go do certain things? And again, this is what Nelson talked about, just the cost of acquisition. If you start putting it in those terms, it's like, oh my gosh, to go find a person that will customize and build a CRM. You can go out to Salesforce and you can say, hey, I can buy that for $1,500 a month for full-blown Salesforce. That's just buying the tool. Now the expertise to come in and show me how to run it and upgrade it and keep it where I want it, go to Salesforce. That's costing you a total of $5,000 a month just for that one piece. And that to me is the least. Well, it's very important. I don't want to say which is the least important, what's the most important. But the fact is that somebody that's coming here is plugging. If you think of a 7-tier business, they're coming in and they're plugging in at a 4 or 5 tier of that business because they already have the systems all set up. All they have to do is go do what drives them to bring them passion. Right? If you have passion to meet with people and solve their problems and bring them value, then why are you spending your time doing all those other things?
Yes. And you're saying there, I want to read you a second portion here of the podcast description because I think it's going to connect to a conversation you've had with Kyle about the acronym that we made for Factum, the values that we capture in the name. So Kyle says, Factum is a life insurance agency empowering leaders to reach their maximum potential, focusing on success, authentic leadership, a compelling vision, training and coaching, unrelenting innovation, while being mutually owned. And I read this to you. I want to get your thoughts about this because while we make that acronym from the word Factum to lay out our values, I think there's something really important about the fact that all that infrastructure we're talking about that comes along with Powered by Factum, which is foundational, which applies to all of our agents and their agencies, also comes with the added bonus that, again, we're not trying to compel anyone to be someone they're not. We want them to express their unique maximum potential however they deliver that value to their community in their own voice, with their own niche and focus, right? So another example, some of our agents very well attracted, including me, to the idea of family banking. Some other agents may want to focus only on working with businesses. And we are not trying to control who you want to become, but empower you, power you by Factum.
Yeah, empower you to be the best of what you want to be, right?
Yes.
So we don't want to pigeonhole you and say this is what you have to do. What we want to do is give you the ability, the empower. Again, I'm going to say empower a lot of times to go be that highest form and best level of who you should be. I mean, that's the real key. It really comes back down to, one of the key things that we talk about is developing leaders. Mm-hmm. So we have some agents that want to start, a group of their own hub. We have some people that want to be a mentor, a leader in that sense. But we also have people that just want to be a leader of one. Leader of one is just as important as a leader of many, because that's where we start. We give you the ability to be the leader of one instead of having to try to employ a team and manage, what's going to do your underwriting, people that are going to do your service, people that are going to keep everything else in order in your life. It's like, so the leadership of one, and that's where it starts. And if you want leadership of many, and that's where you find your passion, then that's what we want to support. And that's really what we want to provide, is that environment, community, because that's, to us, is the most important thing, is that community of value to people from a standpoint of, I just want to make sure that you get exactly what you want so you can go out and perform at your highest level.
Yeah. It's the way to expand this message in a way that none of us can do individually. It's standing in the shoulder of giants, Nelson being one of them, right? Yeah. We are conceived in his mind, unfolded, gifted it to all of us. And when we saw the value, the power of this, we made it part of the purpose of our life to share with others. But the more effective we get at collaborating, leveraging each other, I love that idea of being the leader of one. Like, some people will have the gift to get on a stage, to be a solopreneur, to influence people themselves with their voice, their unique messaging in ways that others can't. But others can also then influence other leaders to be better, to develop a team, to coach, to train. And whatever those gifts are the way that you get to express the maximum value for others. And fascinated again to think about how all the frameworks we have at Factum, our wealth pyramid being an example of this. Yeah. We talk about a foundation piece for wealth at the bottom with the education, the awareness we have, and then at the top, accelerating through your investing strategy and your vision for freedom. The business side of things is no different. We want you to have the Powered by Factum infrastructure, to have a foundational set of platforms, technology, education, courses, right? And then rate it through your own unique voice, your own unique message, the niche of your community, so we spread the message far and beyond.
Exactly right. And I'm probably just going to end with this, is that anywhere we started and how I'm going to end, because we typically always start our conversations with our clients, our presentation, with this area of that we want abundance in 5 areas of our life.
Yes.
And it's a balance. It doesn't always necessarily mean 100% balance 100% of the time. That's not what I'm saying, but it's a balance of, that's where we want, the relentless pursuit of that perfect life, which is abundance in those 5 areas. And that abundance always starts with a relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's a relationship with our agents, our clients, our fellow leadership team, whatever it is. And if I have abundance in my spiritual life and abundance in my business and financial life and my community, those are all things that we strive for. So it's funny that that's where we're going to end, but that's typically where we start with any conversation we have. We know that we need to have abundance in those areas to lead the perfect life, or at least that pursuit of that abundance in those areas. So,
absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time to have the conversation with me. Again, this is the why behind what we do, is that we're passionate about helping individuals achieve success and really the maximum potential that they have within them, because we all have that maximum potential, and we just have to really just shed away all those things that are not important, maybe not as important, because all things are important. Allowing ourselves to flourish and find energy in those things that we truly love to do. So I would encourage you to take a look at us. Hop on our website, factumfinancial.com. Take a look what we have to offer. See what we're talking about. Engage in a conversation with us. We'd love to have a conversation just to see how we can be of service to you. So again, thank you so much, David, for joining me. And look forward to having you listen to the remainder of our podcast and all of the podcasts we have. We also have Beat the Banks page that we produce. So I'd have you go out and listen to Beat the Banks podcast, because that's more driven for those clients that want to understand how this can be beneficial to them as well. So thank you, David, so much, and talk to everybody soon.
Thank you.